Welcome back to another episode of the Breadwinner Energy Podcast. Hi, friends. So, I just want to give you guys a little heads up that I pre recorded some of our podcast episodes that are coming up and what has changed since then. So, in the last couple episodes and the upcoming episodes, I have been promoting a 3-day live event from January 27th through the 29th. And we've decided to move that 3-day event from a $47 event to a free offer. So now you can completely join, get those 3 days for free. But all I'm asking is that you show up those 3 days, or at least two of those 3 days, and you actually embody that work. Like you show up, you're using the chat, you're talking, you're actually workshopping with me. You are truly showing up and immersing yourself into the work. So that is what we've decided to do is move it from a $47 offer to completely free. And we decided to change the name. So when I recorded these, this was last year, when I recorded these. Since then, things have changed. So we decided during our team meeting in early 2025 that I really, really wanted to, number one, create a community, like a very supportive community, a community where it like really feels like a community again. I know that in the last couple of years, things have been different in the online space. And I know that I've been really craving community. Other people love community. And so that was one of the big pieces that came up during our team meeting, as well as giving tons of value. Now, as you guys know on the podcast, I give value every single week, or at least that's my intention. And I know there's a lot of you listening on a regular basis that come over to social media and tell me that you guys love the podcast, it's changed your life. And this is really where I thrive. Like podcasting, being able to just talk to you guys, which is why I do so many live events, that is where I thrive. I don't necessarily thrive as much in email or like written copy and content. And while I still do it, I don't love it as much. And so that's why we've now have the podcast and we have YouTube, as well as moving into more video, more chatting. Like I said, I've been doing live events for a really long time, and those are still going to be happening. But I also will be doing more lives over on social media. I recently did one last week. If you have not yet watched it, I would go over to my Instagram at it's Tay Daniels _ LLC, and I would tune in because that live, while it was 40 minutes long, was a really good live. I talked all about money and what's blocking you from making money, what's blocking you from making a lot of money, what might be coming up for you in sneaky ways that you didn't even realize is affecting the way that you call in money, as well as like the energy of stepping into making a lot of money. So I would go over to my Instagram, watch that, but I would also sign up for this 3-day free live event. And the reason being is because it's going to be more of that. So we've changed the name to the Six-Figure Coach. And in this workshop, I'm going to teach you the mindset, the energy, like the energy you bring to your brand and your business, and then the strategy of being a six-figure CEO and coach. Because here's the thing is I made six figures now, multi six figures for years. But prior to making six figures, it was like 5 years of trying to figure it out. And I swore it was strategy. And then I would work with coaches and they're like, no, like it's your mindset. And it was always this like tug of war, right? Like this back and forth of like, what is it? Just tell me what to do and I will do it. And I swore it was strategy. And it wasn't until I started making six figures that I realized it's not even just strategy, but it's the blend, right? Like it's the mindset that you carry in general, the future decisions that you're making for future you. It's the brand energy that you bring. It's the vibe that you bring to your business. It's the way that you tap into what you're good at and you really use that. So if you're really good at video or talking, then how can you tap more into that, right? Podcasting, YouTubing, going live, versus if you're more good at written copy, which I would say that I think most of you, right? I've worked with thousands of you at this point, are really good and actually better at just talking, like just talking to your people, right? That's why you want to be a coach. So there's a group of you that thinks that that's not your strong suit because you haven't done it enough, right? Or it's scary. But then there's this other group of you where you know that's what your strong suit is, but you're trying to do other strategies and methods that just don't work for you, right? And then there's a group of you that I'm sure written is just like your better thing. So like, are we using a blog, or what are you doing to capitalize on what you're good at? And then mixing that with six-figure strategy. Now, the six-figure strategy that I teach, like this is my unique strategy. Everyone is different, but you're going to know this is for you because you're like, yeah, that's the kind of business model I want to have. The very first thing we focus on is alignment. Now, alignment is different to every single person. Most of the women that come into my world have children because I also have children. And so working with someone who has kids is going to be probably more beneficial to you if you have kids because that's your life, right? And now alignment too could mean like, what is your unique lifestyle? So for me, I have two kids. One of them is one is 8, and they're both at home with me, right? So my toddler is at home with me all day. Obviously, she's not in school. And then my oldest does an online private school from home. But I am still with my kids and running my business. And then I'm married, so I have that support. But my husband also works and he travels a lot for work. So, like, that is where I have to find my own alignment within my life and business of what works for me, which then once we've strategize what your own alignment looks like for your life. So schedule your goals, your income goals. These should all be really, really personal to you. So when you come into coach school, that's the first thing we're going to do is like create this roadmap of alignment for you. What should your schedule look like? What should your business look like? What is your gifts? What are you good at? How much time do you have to work on your business? And then we're going to go into the next section, which is alignment of your offers. So how you structure your offers in alignment with the life you want to live, in alignment with your schedule for now and your dream schedule, in alignment with the money that you want to make. We're going to be making future you, six-figure you decisions. Then we're going to go into your marketing strategy, your lead gen, and your sales strategy. For some people, this is going to look like I want to focus really heavily on collaborations and podcasting. For some of you, it's going to be I want to focus on Pinterest and social media. It's not so much about what the right strategy is, it's what is the right strategy for you? What is alignment for you? Where are you going to be consistent and show up consistently to make it work for you? Right. And that is what coach school is all about. And it's about becoming your next level self, your six-figure self. And so we're going to put together those pieces. So in my upcoming 3-day workshop that I've decided to make completely free, that's what I'm teaching you. It's the groundwork of what is this next level mindset? How do we create this alignment? How do I create my own brand energy in the way that I show up for my business? And then what is the strategy that I need to implement to create six-figure me? So for some of you, again, it's going to be better boundaries, a better mindset, the way that you show up, the visuals of your brand. And maybe it's going to be offers. Maybe it's going to be the way that you position offers, and your messaging and your marketing and your pricing needs to be in more alignment. Maybe for some of you, it's like a better lead gen strategy. Maybe for some of you, it's a better sales strategy. But you're only going to know what's for you based on knowing you, right? So that's what this workshop covers. And then we're going to open applications for the coach school, which is our 12-month hands-on, high-level program. It's basically a mastermind. We're taking limited spots. We're opening the cart a few times a year, and those applications will open for 2 weeks. It's a $10,000 program. We do have a payment plan, but this is about becoming your next level self. This is about blending all the things that I just talked about. It's about becoming you, right? It's the program where you feel like you have this safe space to become this next level you, and you have hands-on support. We're going to rewrite your story, rebuild your confidence, rebrand you, your life, and your business inside out, and take you from overlooked to completely unstoppable in your business to go to 6 figures. So here's what you will need to be qualified for the coach school. Because again, this is a next level program. So the first thing we say is that you have to have an established business. So this is either going to be an established coaching or consulting business and or service-based business. I have a lot of service providers in my world. However, if you're a service provider, you do need to have some kind of scalable one-to-many offer, right? So if you don't have that yet, some of my service providers do both, like they do consulting, VIP days, done with you, done for you. Some of them have programs. If you don't have a scalable offer, start with Offer Bootcamp. That's where we're going to help you create one-to-many offers. If you already have a scalable offer, Coach School is probably the better option for you. So number one, you have an established business. You've already made some kind of money in your business. And you're not completely new. And then number two is you have a scalable offer. Number three, you are committed to growth. You are totally ready to overcome your shit. Like you are ready to do the work. You might need help with the work. You might need support with the work, but you're ready to do the work. Number 4 is financial readiness. You're ready to invest $10,000 or 12 payments at 888. You can use Klarna. We offer Klarna. You do have to apply. It's a third-party app for funding. But regardless, you're ready. Like you are committed. That is the investment you're going to make. And I will tell you guys, when I made my first $10,000 investment, it was like the craziest, scariest. I don't even know how to explain it to you. Like I wanted to puke, but I was also so excited because there was like this, I have goosebumps just talking about it. There was like this energy within me that was like, oh my God, like I'm about to do the biggest thing of my life, of my career. Like this is so big for me. This is such next level for me. And that next level investment took me to 6 figures in 6 months. Like I will forever and ever and ever talk about that investment being one of the best decisions I ever made for myself. And I was committed to showing up. I was committed that every single week I was going to show up and do the work, and it paid off. And so that's why for this program, that is the energy, right? That I want you to bring. It's like, is it going to be scary? Yes. Is that going to be maybe one of the biggest investments you've ever made? Maybe. But also it will make you feel so excited and ready. Like this is my next level, which then goes to the next piece that we're looking for, is that you have a strong desire to scale and make really big moves in your life and your business. Like you have a big vision. You really, really like see your life as so much different than maybe the people around you or the way that you grew up, and you're really, really ready for your next level. So if that sounds like you, the coach school is going to be the place for you. So sign up for the 3 free live event at the end of the month, January 27th through the 29th, and then applications will open. You can also get on the coach school waitlist right now. So you'll be able to apply and join before everyone else and lock in your spot. But you'll also get exclusive bonuses for being on the waitlist. So needless to say, thank you for always being here, for listening, for tuning in every single week. Don't forget to sign up, and let's jump into today's episode. Today's episode is going to be all about all the hard lessons I learned to getting to my first 6 figures. I think that so many people ask me, like, what do I need to do? What are the things I need to do? How do I need to run my business? How do I need to show up? Like, what are the things that I need to know to get to 6 figures? And I thought we would do like a whole series, right? So January's been this whole series about getting to 6 figures. And I wanted to do a series on different parts, right? So we talked about the energy, like the things that you need to carry in your energy for 6 figures. We talked about the schedule, and now I want to talk about the lessons that I learned getting to 6 figures. And again, I think it's important to know these lessons because I think that these are key pieces that I see across the board, right? I don't think that my experience is unique in a certain extent. Like I think that we're all unique in our own way. We all have our own journey, but at the same time, I think a lot of the things that I learned are things that a lot of other people are going to learn, are learning. And I thought that this would bring such awareness to that this is just like normal, right? It's part of the journey. And I think that creating this awareness of this being part of the journey and that it's not really a unique experience will help you feel less alone and more like, okay, well, maybe I am on the right track to 6 figures. So I made a whole list. So I'm going to look down so I can not forget a single thing. But the first mistake I made was that I thought I was really, really ready. Like I was so convinced that I was ready, and then it built up frustration on why is it not happening for me? I'm doing all the things. I'm showing up. I have offers. Like I'm doing what people are telling me to do, and I feel ready for 6 figures, but it's not happening. And now I feel burnout, and now I feel frustration, and now I feel like almost resentment as to why it's not happening. But what I want to say is that sometimes we think we're ready, sometimes we feel like we're ready, and sometimes we say that we're ready, but we can't really see what we are or aren't doing because we're in the thick of it, which is why it's really important to get in rooms with other women who can see those spots. It's important to get in the room with a coach who can also see these spots, right? They can see what you're not seeing. And sometimes it requires such self-awareness to the things that we're trying to ignore or avoid. So for instance, one of those things was that at this point in the beginning of 2021, was the year I decided like I'm going to hit 6 figures. Like there is nothing that's going to stop me from hitting 6 figures this year. And I had made that decision. And when prior to this, those 5 years prior to this, I had not invested, I want to say like more than $500 in my business. Like I cannot imagine it was even close to $1,000 that I had invested at this point. But I swore I was ready for six figures, but I wasn't doing what it took to get to six figures. So when I went into 2021 and I was like, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes to hit six figures. One of those big things was like really realizing what I hadn't been doing, right? Realizing that what I say and what I do are two totally different things. And sometimes we just cannot see that. And so I decided in early 2021 to invest. And when I say invest, I mean like I invested 10 grand. It was a group coaching program. It was lots of hands-on coaching. It was like literally getting in the room. But prior to this, I had not done any of that, right? I was learning, I was doing courses and memberships and like low ticket things, and I was learning skills, but I was not in the room. I was like not really immersed in coaching and hands-on and feedback and really acknowledging up until this point what I was or wasn't doing. And so when I thought that I was ready prior, those 5 years prior, and I kept saying like, this is going to be my year and I really want to hit six figures. I was doing like the fluffy shit. Like I was doing the whole like woo fluffy, like, yeah, it's going to happen for me type. Like I'm journaling and I'm writing things on a whiteboard and I'm like, I have goals and like I want it, right? But I wasn't like doing the thing. I wasn't doing what it took. Another piece of not doing what it took was I was not acknowledging that the decisions I was making in that time were right now decisions. Like they were based out of fear. They were based out of money and being a single mom and my current circumstances and also that I was really bad with money up until this point. As most of you know, I wrecked my credit by the time I was 19 years old. And then I started my first business at 23 with wrecked credit and no money, no savings, literally nothing. Like I had $100 in my name. And so I didn't have credit cards. I could not get a loan. There was no one out here giving me money. And I had to really work through over 5 years my relationship to money, my thoughts about money, the way I spend money, the way that I operate with money, because that was ultimately what was a piece of getting to six figures. Because imagine had I made six figures and I had not healed my relationship to money and I was still bad with money and I was still overspending and not saving and just like recklessly spending money. And then I'm now in charge of a six-figure business. Like I can't imagine how I would have ran that if 19-year-old me had been a six-figure business owner. That's like really scary to think about because I just wasn't ready. Like I hadn't learned certain lessons. And so I think too, there's this part of me that when I talk about or coach women to six figures, like there are so many pieces that I can give you from mental energy, strategy to get there. But sometimes there's these lessons that you have to learn in life and that you have to go through and do such inner work to get there that like I can help you recognize those patterns and I can show you what those are and tell you how to work through them. But if you're not ready and willing to do that work and face that music and face those fears and make bigger decisions and future you decisions and put money on the line and take big risks, then until you learn those lessons and you finally decide to do that, there's not going to be many people out here who can like do that for you, right? It requires you to learn those lessons. It requires you to go through the healing, to go through the journey, to go through the path. And everyone's path looks different, right? And everyone's journey looks different as to when are they going to recognize these patterns and then when are they going to do something about those patterns. And so I think that as you're working towards your first six-figure year, it's how willing are you to face the music, to face your stuff, to realize like this is the thing that I know is holding me back. This is the thing I have to work on. I have to let go of. This is why I need to get in the room. This is why I need to invest. This is where I need to be taking bigger risks that I know I'm not taking. And I think for me, that was like a pivotal moment for me is like realizing like what I'm saying, I want a six-figure business and what I'm doing to have one are two completely different things. I'm undercharging. I'm over delivering to the point where like this isn't sustainable or scalable. I am not making future me decisions. I'm too scared to invest. I'm spending my time on the wrong things. I'm worried what people think of me. I'm trying to be a perfectionist. Like all of those pieces will come into play when you're working towards your first six figures. Now, and the second thing was strategy. And this is in two parts because there was a part of me that thought there was going to be this perfect magical strategy and it was going to change my whole life and my whole business and it was just going to like flip on its head and magically I was going to be a six-figure business owner, but I just needed to find this like magical strategy and that was going to be the thing that fixed it, right? So that was one piece. And then the second piece was I thought it was all strategy. Like I thought it was all this certain business thing that I just don't know, and this certain business like secrets that I just didn't know. And once I knew them, I would get to six figures. But I was having a really hard time acknowledging that it's a piece of strategy. It's a piece of consistently doing that one strategy without shiny object syndrome and realizing that there's tons of different business models and I just need to choose one and roll with it and be consistent with it. And then it was also a piece of me that thought strategy was like the only thing, and mindset and energy work didn't have like a play in this. And when I say that, like I understood that, like, yes, there's this piece where you have to have belief, right? But I was in belief. I was like, I know for a fact I'm going to be a six-figure business owner. It was this other piece of like the smaller thoughts and the smaller pieces of energy that were running the show. Like emotions were running my business and I was making emotional decisions and I was worried if people would be mad at me. And so then I was worried like, oh my gosh, am I charging too much? Or am I saying the wrong thing? Like those small emotional pieces were adding into what I was doing. And I worked with, at this point, right before this $10,000 investment, I had worked with in a membership. I had been in two memberships. I had done a couple courses and I worked with one other coach one-to-one. And everyone was saying it's mindset, it's mindset, it's mindset. And I was like in full belief. I was like, no, like it's strategy. I already know for a fact I'm gonna make six figures. So like I wasn't acknowledging that it can be multiple pieces of mindset and energy work. And so I was relying really heavily on what is the right strategy? What is this thing that I'm missing? It's like out there, right? And when I finally got into this program with this $10,000 coach, she's like literally one of my favorite coaches. She is my favorite coach to this day. Like I love her. We're friends. I think she's just like a most incredible human. She taught me so many things about like myself and life and business that I just like attribute so much of my success to her. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So when I was in this program, she would continuously push me back to like the mindset pieces and the energy pieces and like the way that I'm showing up and the way that I'm operating. And it wasn't until I realized like this is the strategy that I want to choose because this strategy feels really good. It feels like in alignment with what I want for my future. And also, these are the things I need to think and feel. And these are the decisions I need to make. And this is the way that I need to show up. And when I put all of those pieces together, that was what ultimately got me to six figures. And so when people tell you it's your mindset or it's your energy, I want you to pay really close attention to like it is, and but also what are those pieces for you, right? Like what are the things that are missing for you? Is it imposter syndrome? Is it fear of success? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of being seen? Is it fear of being vulnerable? Is it you're spending way too much time behind the scenes? You're spending way too much in creation mode. You think that there's like this magical thing that you're missing out on. You're always chasing like the next trend. You're always chasing what everyone on social media is doing. You're always chasing like a coach that's on step 10 instead of worrying about yourself. Like what are all of those energy sucks, time sucks, mindset sucks that you're playing into? And are you actually making decisions as if you were already a six-figure business owner? Because the truth of the matter is if you were a six-figure business owner, I can imagine that most of you would not make the same decisions you are today. I imagine most of you would invest more time and more money and more energy into the things that matter and move the needle. You wouldn't be as afraid to show up. You would actually have more belief in yourself. And so those are the things that need to be embodied now. And then that leads me to wanting versus doing. So I wanted six figures so bad. Like I wanted it in my soul. I could feel it in my body. I was like, I could just want it so bad. But wanting something and doing something about it and doing something to have it are two completely different things. And so whenever someone comes into my world to get coached and they tell me like, I really, really want to be a six-figure business owner, you can see, like, I can tell you immediately who will make it to six figures within the next 12 to 24 months and who won't. And the person that will is the person who really, really wants it and believes in it and also does something about it versus the person who just wants it or just tries to do all the things. If you're just doing all the things and you're showing up all the time in all the places, but there's no real consistent strategy and there's no consistent belief, then there's going to be some kind of gap, right? It has to be that you believe it, you want it, like you want it so bad. You know that you can have it. You're doing the inner work, the mindset work, the energy work of having it, And then you're also going out and doing the things that are necessary. So selling. That's one of the biggest pieces I can tell you is like most of the time when I have students who want it really bad, they believe in it, they're doing all the things and it's just not working. One piece of this is alignment, right? They're probably doing too much and they're spread too thin. But then the other piece of this is that they're not selling, showing up and selling. And I think that talking about their offer once a week or telling someone about their offer in an Instagram story one time is selling, and it's not. And so we have to really clean up your thoughts about selling, the way that you sell, the way that you show up, the way that you take someone through a sales process to get them to buy from you. But there's so many like interlapped layers of sales. So trust, authority, value, your brand, your mission, your vision, your values, your story, why people would hire you, your marketing, your messaging, like all of those things play into sales. And if we're not building this cohesive ecosystem, then and there's pieces that are missing, or you're ghosting your business regularly, or you have resentment towards your audience, or you're like constantly telling your audience how like you're so much better than every other coach, but you're like shitting on other coaches, and you have this like certain energy around it. Like those are small pieces of your sales process that are going to suck you in. Or let's say that you're just consistently like undermining and undercharging yourself. And when someone DMs you, you're like willing to have like day-long conversations with them and like coach them. And you're using your energy sucks into other places because there's something there that's missing for you where you don't feel maybe worthy, or you feel bad about sales, or you feel bad about telling someone like a boundary of like, I don't do this in the DMs. If you would like to jump on a sales call, let's do it. I'm happy to walk you through the process and how you can join and help you to come to a decision. But I just don't do that in the DMs, or like having a conversation, like redirecting the conversation to their objections and helping them come to a yes or no for themselves. And so those are the pieces of like, where do you need to really identify those gaps within yourself? And so for me, the overarching experience of all the things I wish I would have done sooner before, so I could have gotten to six figures faster. Number one was getting in the room, like getting in the room, a high ticket space, high quality women, lots of hands-on coaching and support, which is why I built Coach School, because that was like the program that changed everything for me. And I was like, every woman who wants to have this really bad needs to have a group like this, an experience like this, a group where the coach is hands-on, the coach is in the room with you every single week. She's giving you feedback. She cares about your success. And then there's other women in the group also doing that thing. That was what changed my whole life. So getting in the room, investing in yourself. Now, investing in yourself is, how do I want to say this? There has to be a point in your life, in your business, where you invest so much money and time that you have put skin in the game. I know for all of you here listening, you've probably invested and you didn't do anything with it. You didn't show up. You didn't go to the calls. You didn't implement it. You blamed the coach. You blamed everyone else. Like we've probably all been through this experience, I'm sure. Or you downloaded like that thing that like wasn't really a lot of money, and so you like didn't really show up. I did this last year. I invested in a program. It was like $500 a month. I showed up to one call out of the 6 months of calls because I didn't have skin in the game, right? Versus if you did put skin in the game and you put so much money on the line that you were like, I have to show up to every call and then ask for coaching and then do something with this coaching. Those are also the students I see that get the most amounts of success and the quickest amounts of success. And that was ultimately what happened for me in 2021. Was a $10,000 investment was a really big investment for me. It was scary. Throw up, shit your pants scary. That I was like, I have to be in this room 24/7 on every call, ask for coaching. Like I have to take up space in this room because this was like my Hail Mary pass. For most of you that don't know, my husband sold his car for me to join. So I had to make it work. And that level of skin in the game really pushes you. And for me, I'm a risk taker. So that's what motivates me, but you need to know what motivates you. But staying inside your comfort zone and staying inside your safety zone is probably not what's going to get you to six figures. Like I can almost guarantee that not taking risks, not investing time, not putting skin in the game, not investing a big amount of money that feels like skin in the game to do something about it, it's just not going to get you there. So feeling ready versus being ready. thinking you're ready versus doing what it takes to be ready, not thinking there's this magical shiny thing out there that's going to change your life, and actually getting in the room and doing the thing. If you're working with a coach right now, I suggest that you take up space for the rest of the container. You make the most out of the time that you're there. You make the most out of the investment that you've made. You show up, you ask for coaching, and you do something about it. You go out and implement the things that she's teaching you. And if you're not actually implementing what's being taught and you keep going back to these old habits and patterns of like being on Canva all the time and looking for the new trends all the time and seeing what everyone else is doing and scrolling a lot and like feeling busy and listening to all the podcasts and reading all the books, like that's not going to be the action required to get you to the next level. And so I really, really challenge you to go out, get the coaching and implement it and really, really push yourself out of your comfort zone for 2025 and see where that takes you. I also challenge you to come to my 3-day live event at the end of the month. And I also challenge you to get on the Coach School waitlist or even submit your application. If you're not sure if you should start with Coach School or offer bootcamp, a really good way to know is if you already have a group coaching program or a high ticket scalable offer, meaning it's like one to many, then I would apply for Coach School. If you don't yet have a one to many model, I would apply for offer bootcamp. You can join immediately after your once you apply within 24 business hours, you'll be accepted or denied. And then I would go in and either go gung-ho on building your scalable offer, or I would go straight up Coach School, apply and get in that room. Both rooms are hands-on coaching every single week, and both rooms have lots of amazing women in them to love you and support you and cheer you on, while I will also be doing the same thing. So sign up for the 3-day event, January 27th through the 29th, and get on the Coach School waitlist. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will chat with you on the next episode.